Hello, everybody, and welcome into another season preview show of the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and we are up to the Winnipeg Jets as we're heading into the 2026-27 season. Got Owen Hillman here. He's going to step in for the Jets. Of course, you've probably seen one of the Nashville Predators if you watched that preview. Owen, how's it going?
It's going pretty well right now. Really excited to talk about the Jets. Very intriguing team. They had a bit of a nightmare season last year, but only about 2 years away from winning the President's Trophy, and got a lot of intriguing young forwards here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a disappointing season, like you said, coming off a President's Trophy winning season. You think, well, it's going up, but had some problems last season, and I mean, still a lot of talent on this roster. Of course, coming into last season, we're talking about Jonathan Toews coming back and all that stuff with him, and now he's no longer with the team. He's retired, or they've trying to get him back for the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane's been trying to get him to sign there, but right now, I'm pretty sure he's retired. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for the Jets, and we'll jump right in. They didn't make a lot of changes in the offseason. They brought in Noah Gregor, was probably their biggest addition up front. So, I mean, what do you think about him being added?
Yeah, I mean, it's like intriguing, just for depth of team. They dealt with a lot of injuries last season, just like long term to like I believe Adam Lowry had an injury, and Niederreiter had injuries. Cole Perfetti was dealing with some. Morgan Barron too. So it's nice depth, at least for the team. I mean, he might be able to flip the team the AHL and the NHL, but him being the main forward addition for Winnipeg is kind of depressing in my opinion. Like, I think they definitely need to add another forward out of this group. I mean, I've seen, I believe Declan Schroeder alluded to maybe them reuniting with Patrick Laine in the future, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'll throw another name at you here. I think maybe Evander Kane. Kane has been a productive player despite having a physical game. You usually see those kind of players drop off in their mid-30s, but Kane is still solid, especially in the power play, still a good goal scorer, still a good playmaker, and I think he could be good on this bottom six. But, I mean, you mentioned Noah Gregor being one of the additions. I'm probably going to add Vigo Bjork to this list as well. He's probably going to be middle six depth off the bat. You saw him at the IHF. He already knows how to compete against grown men in the NHL, so he's probably NHL ready right off the bat. Also, we get a full year of Isak Rosen. He just became a full-time NHLer, like about 23 years old. Didn't have the offensive pop that people were expecting in his first season, but maybe like with more elevated time and maybe the top nine or even the top six, I can see him really breaking out. But yeah, Noah Gregor not really going to cut it for me with the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention Vigo Bjork. He's a guy that signed the entry level contract. A very impressive player. I wanted the Canucks to draft him, but I mean, I'm happy with Caleb Malhotra. I mean, Bjork is an intriguing guy. He's undersized but very competitive, and a guy that I think will really fit with this Jets team. Maybe I don't know about him being an impactful player this season, but definitely a guy that's going to end up being potentially a second line center. Could be this season. Who knows? There's an opening there, so we'll see how that goes. For the rest of the forward group, like a lot of guys being returning. What are the big storylines heading in for this group? I mean, there's still a lot of talent on this team.
I mean, I guess to put it bluntly, like, is this going to be more than one line or maybe even two lines? Because, like, you see that top line, that can compete with anybody. That is President's Trophy worthy with Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Gabe Vilardi, who's progressed into a first liner beautifully after the Jets traded for him in the PLD deal. But is Cole Perfetti going to get back to form after having a bit of a struggling year last season? He had, like I mentioned, he had injuries at the beginning of the year, only had about 12 goals and 20 assists. Is he's going to get back to form? Are we going to see a guy like Nino Niederreiter kind of get back to where he usually is, around a 40, 50 point per game pace? Are guys like Vigo Bjork going to like emerge? Like maybe you don't see it this season, but maybe Adam Lowry kind of emerges as well. But most of all, I want to see a guy like Brad Lambert turn into a top nine option, because he had a nightmare season last year, bouncing around from the NHL to the AHL. Declan has criticized the Manitoba Moose a ton, and I totally get it. They've been long they've been along an organization that hasn't been able to develop talent over there. So I want to see Brad Lambert get his shot because I've heard him be thrown around in trade rumors, in my opinion, to not get at least some sort of recognition. So Lambert, Perfetti, Bjork, Niederreiter, and Lowry are going to be keys to Winnipeg not just being a one-line team.
Yeah, Lambert's again another prospect I've followed quite a bit over his career, and I'm just waiting for him to figure it out. I mean, he's been in the AHL, he's been good, he's come up occasionally and looked okay, but I think he still has a lot more to his game. I hope that they do give him that chance because I don't want to see him traded because that could end up happening as well as as prospects kind of not seeing them develop properly. You start thinking they're going to start moving on from him, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they were putting him on like the fourth line last year. They were putting him on like the fourth line last year, like Cole Koepka and like Gustav Nyquist and Taves. And those are just not the partners he should be skating with. He is too.
Yeah.
I think he's got great processing and great skating. And those two were inferior to him last season. They're good. They're decent. Brad Lambert should be relegated to the fourth line, in my opinion. He should be third line, maybe the second line.
Yeah, we'll see. He's going to end up having a chance, opportunities in that position because there are openings in the top six, and obviously not the top line, but the second line, you might see something happening there. All right, defense. I mean, again, no real. I mean, there is a big Mario Ferraro is the biggest addition up on the blue line. What do you think about him being added? Played all of his career with the San Jose Sharks before here.
I actually kind of like Mario Ferraro. I mean, I hear a lot of Cody Ceci comparisons with Mario Ferraro. I think he's a little bit better offensively driven. Does like to turn the puck over a little bit of my liking, but like he has great skating, very mobile, and he can probably just anchor the second power play for the team as Josh Morrissey anchors the first one. But overall, it's just good defensive depth. I mean, this team also dealt with injuries on the defensive side, along with their forward side, like Morrissey. He played 77 games, so his injury in the Olympics was not as bad as people thought it would be. But a guy like Neil Pionk missed 51 games last year, and with that contract, that's not a great stance for the Winnipeg Jets over there. Dylan Sandberg also dealt with injuries, but yeah, Mario Ferraro going to be a good addition to the team and another year of development from Elias Salmonson. I hope I got that name right, but another year of development from him is going to go a long way for this defensive core.
Yeah, I agreed. And I mean, Ferraro was played. I mean, I believe he was a first pairing defenseman in San Jose, maybe a little less cast as that, right? So I mean, he'll get lesser ice time. Maybe he'll be more effective. I'm not saying he wasn't in San Jose. He was probably one of their best. But I mean, I think ideally he's on a good team. He's a second pairing, maybe even a bottom pairing guy, right? So, but yeah, very good defenseman, and we'll see how much he adds to the Jets. All right. Otherwise, again, all the main cast members are returning to this team. What are the big storylines on defense? Because again, the blue line doesn't look too bad, especially with Josh Morrissey leading the way. But they're going to have to be better than last season for sure.
Yeah, is a guy like Neil Pionk going to be able to stay healthy this season? Because he was a big addition to Winnipeg and last season, and he's more of a defenseman guy, and he was pretty good at the second line in 2024. With 2025, he played just 51 games as well. So him being back to full strength and full health is going to be very big for this blue line that, you mentioned is underrated. And also, is Elias Salmonson going to take the next step? He became a full-time NHLer, which, great. You already crossed that hurdle. Now you got to be – I think he's got to be like at least a – not top pairing defenseman, probably one of the first two pairings for me to really live up to his hype. Maybe even be that top pairing defenseman next to Josh Morrissey. But I like Salmonson last year, and I want to see him get more opportunities this year. We'll see how that goes. But those are the two big storylines for me.
Yeah, we'll see how everyone's going to have to improve for them to get back to where they want to be because obviously I don't think they want to be a rebuilding team or even a retooling team. This is a President's Trophy team not that long ago. And really, the main cast is there. It's not like they've completely dismantled everything. They're still a good team. I think they can come back, but they're going to have to be better for sure. All right. Well, the big storyline, goaltending. Connor Hellebuyck, so many different rumors, especially right after the season where he made those comments, very highly publicized comments criticizing the team. And then he's been in trade rumors and all that. But right now, he's still a Jet. And, he's the number one goaltender, probably the best goaltender in the league right now. And his backup going in is Stuart Skinner, who was with the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, previously the Edmonton Oilers. What is this goaltending tandem? As it is, probably one of the best in the league with Hellebuyck, but the biggest thing is he a part of the future.
I do really like the goaltending duo, as you mentioned, like Hellebuyck and Skinner. Skinner definitely is more like probably like a 2A, maybe fringe 1B kind of goaltender than how he's used at Edmonton. So I actually really like this role for him. He can kind of take a little bit off of Connor Hellebuyck's plate. Hellebuyck, I believe, started around 50, 60 games last year. And, while he's still one of the best goaltenders when he's on, it's still kind of rough to be able to do that alongside with him being Team USA's goaltender. You kind of saw that weight kind of bear down on him a little bit. So getting a guy like Stuart Skinner instead of maybe relying on the goaltenders they've done in the past is very good for this team. And I really like the move. It'll be very interesting to see how they approach Connor Hellebuyck this season. But I think they brought in Skinner just to be competitive and give one more shot to Connor Hellebuyck. See if the forward core and the defense can really gel together.
Yeah. Do you see him getting traded before the season, or is this something that's going to be hanging around this season?
I think it's going to be something hanging around this season. I don't know if Winnipeg really has a team that's desperate to offer what they're going to want for this. This is a Vezina caliber goaltender we're talking about. Winnipeg should try asking for the moon for him, but Florida's gotten Jacob Markstrom, Edmonton's gotten David Levi. I'm trying to remember who they got, but they've already fixed their goaltender duo. Pittsburgh too, I guess, but yeah, Hellebuyck, there's not really a team that is, I think trying to shop for Hellebuyck right now. So I think it's going to be more of a trade deadline question on Hellebuyck. Yeah.
Well, it's going to end up being, how are the Jets doing? That's the reason, that's a big thing. If they're doing really well and they're into the, back to where this should be, I don't think Hellebuck's going anywhere, obviously. But there's going to be something that's going to be hanging around throughout the season for sure.
Worst case scenario is the Jets are performing poorly and Hellebuyck himself is performing poorly as well, because then if Cheveldayoff wanted to trade him away, that does not bode well for his value. Cheveldayoff, not the most aggressive general manager out there, but that would not bode well at all if they want to trade him.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see how that all goes throughout the season into training camp as well. Obviously, that's going to be talked about. All right, going into the Central Division, again, we talked about it with the Nashville Predators. This is one of the best up at the top, one of the best in the league. Lots of great teams, and the Jets were one of those teams not that long ago. Where do they fall in this gauntlet of a Central Division?
It might shock you, but I think their ceiling might be third place in its division, behind Dallas and maybe it'd be behind Dallas and Colorado. They probably have better forward depth. They could have better forward depth than Minnesota right now. They have a better first line, I think. Minnesota definitely has Kaprizov, but Winnipeg with Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Velarde, that's very good. And as long as they can get 2, even 3 lines, they can, and their defense core is very solid too. Obviously, Minnesota's got a higher ceiling with Quinn Hughes, but the Jets, they're just very well-rounded, and I think that they can, unlike Nashville, who has a more solid floor but a lower ceiling. I think Winnipeg is a higher ceiling, maybe a lower-ish floor. I think they could maybe finish 6th in the division, but we will see. It's a very wild card team. Yeah.
I've mentioned it a few times that they have the talent to return back to what their former glory, but maybe not President's Trophy, but a good team again. And that's the thing. And that's going to be something that's going to be expected for sure. All right. Into our quick fire round, and mentioned a few different storylines, but what's the biggest one heading in? Is it the goaltending? Is it, the forward depth? And, what's their biggest storyline or question mark coming into this season?
Yeah, the biggest question is going to be whether or not the depth comes through for Winnipeg, outside of Connor, Scheifele, and Velarde, and then Morrissey and like Dylan DeMello. Is that going to come through? Is that going to come through like young players like Bjork or Brad Lambert, or is it going to come from proven contributors like Perfetti and Niederreiter coming back to form? That's really the biggest storyline for me. I mean, maybe you can say, is Connor Hellebuyck going to get traded this season? But I think that's more of a trade deadline question than a storyline on the entirety of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like we mentioned, it's going to be something that's going to be, as we get closer to trade deadline, that's going to be a big one. Maybe not heading into the season, but yeah, for sure something we'll be looking at. All right, breakout stars. Who do you see breaking out this season?
That's a really good question, because like there are a couple guys I could see. If Brad Lambert gets the playing time, I think that he is going to be the breakout star for the team. If they just keep him on the second line or third line, I think he has enough. I think he has enough wherewithal to be able to compete with some of the top players. I mean, I would hope at least like 40 points from him, or 50 points. That's kind of what I hope for at this point, but. We shall see. That's good. This is like the last shot I'm going to give Brad Lambert, but this is me believing him.
It's a big opportunity for him coming into this season, and we'll have to watch how he takes it, because, like I said, I've watched him quite a long time. From his draft year, I really liked him, and I thought he went a little low in the draft. And he hasn't really shown anything, although hasn't really been given a huge opportunity yet. So we'll see if he can get that this season. All right, bounce back candidates on a team that didn't make the playoffs after winning the President's Trophy. There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to hope to bounce back. Who's your biggest one?
For me, I guess it's Cole Perfetti in this group. I mean, Perfetti usually around 50, and I think he was approaching 60 at one point in this some season. But last year, he had the preseason injury. He had the injury he was dealing with in the preseason at the beginning of the year, and it just didn't really look like he was. It didn't really look like he was the same, at least at the beginning, but he ended the season well, I believe. And Perfetti, I think, could definitely bounce back to around that 50, 60-point range and, be a key contributor to this team. But he'll be if he's able to bounce back, that is good news for Winnipeg for sure.
Also coming in on signing a big 5-year contract as well. So that's,
right.
That's going to be hanging on, maybe not hanging over his head, but that's something that's, you don't want him to kind of live up to it already. For sure. All right, X factors. What's your biggest X factor for the Jets?
I mean, it's probably either Brad Lambert or maybe even Vigo Bjork. I mean, what do we get out of Bjork in year one? It may not be a lot, but it could be a lot. Bjork looked very good in the IHF, and maybe this is me buying too high on it, but I could see Bjork potentially being like a 30, 40 point per season player in his first year. Bjork definitely has the hockey IQ to do it. He just didn't have the size or really the speed to be. That's kind of like a little lacking. But if Bjork is able to be in line with like Lambert, for example, who has much better speed, I think that could definitely work for Winnipeg. He's a big X factor. Maybe Isak Rosen as well on this group, because you get a full season of him, and maybe he pops off offensively. That's another big area for you to be able to clear.
Yeah, the youngsters. I think that's maybe just in general, any of the young players coming in to being an X factor, and I'd say maybe a very veteran type top of the lineup, and we'll see how the young players kind of come in. Bjork being probably one of the bigger ones. We'll see if he's a factor in his rookie season. All right. Well, speaking of rookies and prospects, and maybe it's not a surprise that Bjork makes the roster, but who could you see that maybe is surprising that does make it?
That's an interesting question. There are a lot of prospects in a team that are like kind of like fringe AHLers right now, and I'm a little worried that that's like where their destination is. I mean, I guess like a guy like Braden Yeager could make the NHL roster, or I guess Colby Barlow if Winnipeg's trying to go like physical on that side. Chibrakov too, I could see making the roster. But I'm definitely going to be watching to see how those guys do alongside guys like Kevin Key, Jacob Julian, and Kieran Walton as well. But if I had to choose between one of those guys, my best bet would probably be Braden Yeager.
I like Colby Barlow. He might end up making the team as in the bottom 6, maybe. Like you said, with his
Yeah, but I would
physicality,
say he
size.
could be a decent bottom sixer
Yeah,
too.
I could see that. I actually see him as a future captain in the NHL. I don't know about the Jets, but with Adam Lowry there, I mean, he's an older guy. So, I mean, Barlow's still a ways off. But yeah, I see him as a Adam Lowry type player. So he could end up being his heir apparent, maybe.
Yeah, it's actually a very good comparison to make. I think that's like something I've heard too. That's a very good comparison.
Yeah, for sure. All right, prospects to watch. You mentioned a few of them there. What guys are you watching prospect wise?
Again, I'm probably going to be watching Jaeger to see if he progresses in year 2, similar to year 1. I mean, he had a little disappointing year in the AHL last year, but I mean, maybe if he progresses, then that's going to be much better of an outlook. I mean, Rucker McGrory right now is, I think, turning into an NHLer for Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be, at minimum, probably like a third liner for the team. I'm going to be watching a lot of Kevin He and Kieran Walton as well. Walton had a fantastic season last year in the OHL, and I believe this will be his first season in the AHL too. I'm very excited to see what he brings. Maybe Kevin He can make the jump too. His story is very cool. I'm also going to be watching Sasha Boumediene as well. Drafted, I believe, in the first round of the 2024 draft, if I'm not mistaken. Had a rough year, but Boston College as a whole was bad. I think he can definitely perform, exceed expectations this next year. And then a guy like DiVincentis in net could be a big one too. I liked what I saw out of him in the AHL, especially later on in the season.
Yeah, I like Kevin He's story too, and a very surprising prospect, a late round pick as well. And and he could end up being an NHLer, and we'll see if that happens. And yeah, all those guys. I like a lot of the Jets prospects. They're all very. They have actually a really good prospect pool for a team that's been in the playoff mix for the last few seasons, and maybe the last season was just a blip on the radar. But they've been a really good team, and not drafting high and getting these guys and still ending up with a decent prospect pool. I really commend teams that are. These are where scouts really make their money, because teams that always are on the bottom, of course, you're going to get great prospects because you're getting top 5, top 10 picks. But when you have to be drafting later on and you're getting guys, that's where the scouting really starts.
Yeah, really, you really see it a lot of the Central Division too, like the Stars too. Like Wyatt Johnston was a late draft pick. Maverick Bourque was a late draft pick. Obviously, Bourque is gone now at this point, but like the Stars, the Stanko too is I believe, what was he, like a 3rd, 4th round pick? He was a mid-round pick, but he's blossomed into a cup champion with Carolina, and it's a shame that Jim Nill wasn't able to had to deal with Jason Robertson's extension now. But yeah, Dallas, very good drafting team in my opinion too.
So I mean, lots of good prospects on teams that are usually playoff teams. All right, who's going to lead the team in scoring? I mean, there's the obvious candidates. There's probably going to be these guys in here. Goals and points. Who you got?
For me, it's going to be Kyle Connor. I mean, he's always been a sniper, and he's a great playmaker too. I mean, some people could say Mark Scheifele as well. I wouldn't disagree with you there, but I think Connor's got the highest ceiling in terms of scoring on the team. He could get 100 points in a season, and I could definitely see him doing that too if the depth kind of shows up for him. I could definitely see them being a much higher scoring team, and Kyle Connor might even get some like Hart votes too.
Yeah, he's both those guys. They're always in the mix for leading the team, so I expect that again this season. All right, finally, bold prediction, hot take for the Jets this season. What do you got there?
Man, this is a decent one. My bold take, I think, is that the Jets are one of the top 3 teams in the Central this year. Actually, I think maybe one of Minnesota or Utah is not as good as advertised. Minnesota dealing with that Quinn Hughes situation. Maybe their forward core is not as great as advertised. Their center depth is still, I wouldn't say, the best in the NHL, or maybe the Stars too. Like they've lost a lot of talent over the years, and maybe they just revert to mediocre. So yeah, I think that Winnipeg wins one of the top 3 spots. That's going to be my bold prediction.
I mean, it's not out of the question. Like I say, there's a lot of talent still on this team, and Hellebuyck, any team with Hellebuyck, you don't really count out. I mean, he could carry a team himself. Right. So, I mean, it's definitely a team that could be a big bounce back as a team, probably the biggest one this season that could end up going right back to where they were. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks, Owen, for coming on, talking Jets. It's it's a very interesting team going into this season with all the talk with Hellebuck, with this team not really changing a lot, at least at this point. Obviously, stuff could happen in training camp, preseason, with trades and stuff like that. But as of now, they haven't made much changes, and we'll see if that was the right decision or not. But make sure to check out everything at thehockeyrush.com. We got great articles throughout the site, and all the Jets coverage as the season gets going, with training camp, preseason, which is starting much sooner than usual. We'll have games at the end of September rather than the season starting second week of October. So hockey's coming up pretty quick. So check that out. And until our next preview, we will see you next time.